It is Saturday and I am in dire need of some dry shampoo and some Advil. I'm a little hungover. Wow, I have definitely looked better, that's for sure. I look very pale. That's great. Winter. I'm not getting spray tans every 2 weeks like I did back in college. That was ridiculous. I always had those like spray tan hands and now I just accepted that I am pale. Whatever. It's natural. It's natural. I am going to be getting ready with you guys. Well, you guys I guess are going to be getting ready with me. Slash, I'm going to be answering your questions. A lot of you guys asked some questions on Instagram. We're just going to dive right on in and exploit my true feelings about everything on the internet because there's honestly little things I haven't already talked about online. And it's funny because people always ask, they're like, you know, are you concerned that, you know, it might be difficult for you to like get a boyfriend because you literally expose every relationship you've ever had online? And I'm like, I never thought about it like that, but thank you. It's fine. Honesty is the best policy always. I'm gonna start with moisturizer because my skin is parched. Parched. I need a thick moisturizer. I really want to do like a full video where I show you guys my skincare regimen because I have extremely dry skin. Like I've never suffered with oily skin in my life. Like always just like so dry. Honestly guys, like having dry skin is like painful, especially in the winter. It like hurts to move my face. I have an eye mask because like my eye skin is really sensitive. I have like eczema that develops like sometimes on my eyes. So I just applied a moisturizer. Now I'm going to apply some concealer. So Casey wants to know, I would love to hear more about what you studied in school and how it relates to your current job. I'm currently studying graphic design and I have this fear that for some reason I won't have the skills necessary. I think it's illogical, but I see how much more lately is required of a graphic designer and I'm curious about your journey. So I guess I'll back up and talk to you guys about my major and everything that happened in college, my full route of how I did things. So I came in to school freshman year really wanting to pursue journalism. I was like very into the idea of being a journalist and like not necessarily like a hard news journalist by any means. I really loved writing. I still really love writing. I had this like passion for writing when I was like literally in the 5th grade. I would write like novels, or like I thought they were novels, but they were probably more like short stories, and I would literally stay in during recess so one of my teachers could proofread my novel because I really wanted to be published. Like I wanted to be a published author. I still do. Like eventually when I have a book that I write myself, like no ghostwriter involved, just like I want to write my own books. Which is definitely like a future goal. But anyway, I really loved writing, really loved telling stories. I even really liked what's it called, like broadcast. I also really liked broadcast journalism, or like the idea of like being on camera and like telling stories. But then I soon kind of realized that I had this whole different love for, you know, the digital stuff, the space, and you know, as my YouTube channel was kind of taking off, I was like, wow, I really love, you know, making things look pretty. I was like on the magazine and did a lot of design work that way, and I was like, okay, I like design. But then I was like thinking about it practically, and I'm like, I don't think designers make that much money, which like obviously should never stand in the way of your dreams per se, but it is a factor that you consider, especially as a freshman year college student who thinks that they have to have their whole life figured out in one semester, which was me. I was like kind of insecure. I was really insecure that I didn't know what I wanted to do. So if you're feeling that way, you're normal, congrats. I'm applying foundation, by the way. Sorry, I'm bad at multitasking. I actually think I finally found the foundation that like matches, or the shade that matches my skin. This is from Armani. So that's basically the story of how I figured out what I wanted to do. So I ended up being a communication design major through college. So it basically was just like normal communications, but had more of a design focus. So all of my classes had something to do with designing per se. So I also ended up minoring in digital art, and I started that minor I think like sophomore year. So freshman year I wasn't like aware of how much I really loved design until I realized that Elon, where I went to school, had so many possibilities for graphic design majors. As I mentioned, all my classes kind of had like a design focus to them, but I also kind of felt like here and there that I wasn't really learning things that were really relevant to what I wanted to do. Like I felt like some of the classes I was taking in the comm school were kind of like filler classes, nothing I really wanted, obviously. Being in a design career now, I've realized that I didn't learn nearly as much as I should have learned, or I guess like not the right things. Like there's so many things that school does not teach you, and it's kind of frustrating now, like having to learn all these things that I like feel like I should have been taught in school. Like in my career at L'Oreal, it just like has made me realize that, you know, college is great for like building connections and like, you know, you foster relationships and stuff like that, but I feel like when it comes to preparing yourself for a career, it's almost that you have to like teach yourself a lot of things. So I guess honestly the biggest thing that I got out of college, like my major and my minor, was like pretty basic knowledge of programs. Like I learned how to use Photoshop and Illustrator and all that stuff pretty well, but to be honest, I taught myself a lot of the most important parts of those programs that I use every day at L'Oreal. I like learned like via tutorials online. It's all about like being curious and stuff like that. So I guess in school I kind of learned the basics. I wanted my diploma so bad. I totally respect people that decide not to go to college. Like as I've mentioned, like you don't learn everything you need for your career in college. You know, to be honest, it was kind of like partying for 4 years and like making friends and like not much else, for me at least, I guess, because like graphic design is also such a constantly evolving field. It's like hard to teach that, to be honest. I've always talked about like I want to go back after like this whole L'Oreal and like whatever careers I'm gonna have next ends, like when I'm kind of older, I want to be like a professor. Like how fun, like I want to teach design, how cool. So I guess the biggest piece of advice I could give anyone who is looking to pursue a career like mine or is a communications major or something like that, I guess the biggest piece of advice I could give you is just focus on building your portfolio. Focus on, you know, creating as much as possible. Like when in doubt, create, make things. You know, don't always just make the same thing, you know, step out of the box and, you know, just create a bunch of pieces of work and put them on a digital portfolio. And I've mentioned this in a past video, I think, but I could not tell you how much it helped me get my job. And overall, just, you know, having something to show for my 4 years. Like, you know, you'll have to make projects in classes, but like go the extra mile and make stuff, you know, make like a part 2 of a project and just keep expanding your work. I think the biggest help in my college career was taking this one class where it was like basically, I think it was like a senior seminar type thing, but it was like my professor would say, okay, come up with 5 pieces of work, and then the next round, like the next project would be, okay, now take those 5 pieces and improve them even more and like make a second part of it and then put that all in your portfolio. That was the most helpful class ever. I actually emailed my professor from that class and I was like, your class helped me more than any other class I took in school. Honestly, my biggest piece of advice is just to build your portfolio and make connections, make friends in school, because you never know who's gonna be famous someday. Well, that, but like also you never know like who can help you get a job. That's not to say you have to like throw yourself at every person and be like, be my friend and like a, you know, crazy person. It's like, just be kind to everyone and, you know, don't be petty. Don't, you know, create enemies for yourself just because, you know, you have pride and like all, you know. Anyway, I think this could apply to many careers. You feel like you're not prepared when you graduate and you're like, I literally don't know shit, and how am I going to perform in a career, like a real job? And I think, you know, the moral of the story with that is kind of, you know, you're gonna be, no matter how educated you are, you're kind of going to be faking it till you make it your entire like first year at your company. Like I'm 6 months into L'Oreal. I've been at the company for 6 months and I'm still feeling like I'm faking it till I make it. Not every day, like there certainly are, you know, areas where I feel very capable. When it comes to like creating a piece of graphic work or something like that, like in terms of creation, I feel like I'm not winging it because I've been doing this stuff for years. But when it comes to sitting in a meeting and having to pitch ideas and concepts and, you know, critique work and stuff like that, I feel like sometimes I'm kind of pulling things out of thin air. Also, I really wish that I had known more business stuff, like business terms. Like I didn't take a single business class in college. I went on a business trip, but it was like kind of just like drinking in Asia and it wasn't like a big deal. But I wish I had taken like a couple of business courses that would at least help me understand how to read numbers, like how to look at like a growth chart of a company or like a decline and like understand what the percentages mean. I think it's perfectly normal to feel like really stupid your first several months at your company. And it's normal. No one's gonna walk in and like just like know exactly how to do everything, know exactly how people function and work and like how your team's gonna react to things, and it's like you can't anticipate that. I'm also very bad at asking for help, so when I like got lost trying to find the bathroom, it was like, nope, I'm just gonna wander aimlessly and figure it out on my own because I am a stubborn Scorpio. Anyway, I'm gonna stop waving my brush. Okay, so Alicia Goodman asks, self-care or how to avoid feeling so run down and burnt out. I struggle with this concept all the time of, excuse me, sir, or ma'am. I've struggled with this, you know, off and on throughout my 4 years in college, even before that in high school, and then even now. It's like you kind of get in a funk sometimes. You kind of, you know, just find yourself thinking about your life and you're like, wait, like I am burnt out. I feel like I'm going nowhere. I feel like I don't have anything to look forward to. That's a big thing. And I'm like, well, what's the point of this? Like, what's the point? Sometimes when I'm going to work even, because I'm still getting used to like having a job. Like I love my job, don't get me wrong, it's probably the best possible job I could ever have for me. But like just having a job in general, it's just different than college. It's different than like waking up and going to class or skipping class and then like getting to nap after and like, you know, going out like 4 days a week and like getting shit-faced and then like doing it all over again and having your friends there and like the stupid petty drama. It's like not the same vibe, like having a real person job. It's just so different. There's pros and cons to like both being in college and being in the real world. It's like now I have my own place. I'm no longer like on my parents' dime. It's all my money. I get to, you know, just run wild basically, but obviously I'm not, because I'm gonna run wild until my 9-to-5 job, and then I, you know, go to work and then I run wild again. I'm just kidding. There's certainly pros and cons, but sometimes you do feel run down and burnt out. And to be honest, just like in life in general, you get into periods of like sadness. So I talked about this on my podcast a couple of weeks ago. And if you guys aren't listening to my podcast, what's wrong with you? I'm just kidding. But you should be listening to my podcast. It's Thick and Thin. So a couple of weeks ago, I was talking about the concept of, you know, when you feel like everything's going wrong in your life, what do you do to turn things around and make it right? So, because sometimes you just get so overwhelmed by all of the bad things in your life that feel like they're stacking up and like overwhelming you. So I think the best way to get yourself out of a funk and make yourself feel better is, you know, stacking up good things. I kind of picture it visually because, as you guys know, I'm like a visual person, hence the whole graphic design career. Like I'm very visual. I'm really bad at like, you know, comprehending things when it isn't like painted out in a picture or something like that. So you kind of have to focus on stacking up these good things in your life, kind of introducing new little good things, little nuggets of good things here and there, and they kind of stack up, like make a pile almost of these good things. So whenever you feel like you have all this bad stuff in your life, just like little by little, you know, here and there, little good things, just sprinkle these good things into your day-to-day and it will make you feel so much better. And kind of an example of these good things, like, you know, sometimes when I'm in a funk, I'll buy myself a bouquet of flowers and just stick it on my bedside table. And that's a little good thing. It's like $9, I don't know. Or I'll organize like a random little dinner with my friends over the week. You know, I'll be like, hey guys, can we like meet up and get dinner on Wednesday? I think it's key to have things that you look forward to. Like make plans to the point where you have something to look forward to. It makes the days go by a lot faster and easier. I don't know, just taking some time, not going out one night and just having like a movie marathon with myself, or surprising my mom with flowers. I did that a couple weeks ago, and it's just like little things you can sprinkle throughout your life. Granted, a lot of the ones I just named involve like spending money, but sometimes like you have to treat yourself, honestly. The moral of the story here is like when you stack up these little good things in your life, even just like saying a compliment to someone on the street that, you know, you like their outfit or something, just like little good things, if you sprinkle them in your life, they will stack up into a pile that, you know, will overpower all the little bad things. I picture this whole little like metaphor as these like little pebbles, like little rocks, because I really wanted to be a geologist growing up, so I picture it being like a little stack of pebbles, like marbles. I was a very big marble collector back in the day. And like picture that pile of marbles, like say, okay, I failed a test, I was late to work, I overslept, I don't know, like little things here and there that are just like bad things and you feel like everything's going wrong. Okay, so that's like four pebbles of bad things. But then if I sprinkle all these good things into my day and just like here and there, just like little good things, that pile is going to be huge in comparison, and it'll overshadow, like completely just like blow that little pile of bad things out of the picture, like out of the picture. So honestly, if you're feeling burnt out and just overall exhausted and just not inspired, sprinkle some good things into your life here and there. Like they don't have to be huge, they don't have to be like expensive per se, but like just little good things. Consciously, you know, embellish your life, bedazzle your life with these little good things, because you know, it can get very, very repetitive, like very much of a rat race here, especially in New York. It's just like everything just falls into this lazy cycle where you just feel like you're not going anywhere. Okay, next makeup product. Guys, I'm bad at like multitasking, can you tell? Someday I want to do a video where I do like all my makeup looks throughout the years. It's funny because you guys have watched me for so long, a lot of you, that you probably even noticed that my look has changed. Like remember when I went blonde? Like that was a big mistake. I even have it on my Hinge profile. Like, there was a question on the Hinge profile where it's like, my biggest mistake, and I said going blonde. Someone's asking about post-breakup advice. I think my biggest, biggest rule of thumb with that is don't talk to him or her. You know, like give yourself time to process the breakup, and the obvious things, spend time with your friends, delete his number. I know it sucks and it's like hard and you don't want to like sever the last little thing that you have of the relationship, but delete his number. Block his number if you need to, and just, you know, hold yourself accountable. Don't reach out to him. You know, this is valuable time for you to process everything, and I think it's, you know, not fully processed when you're still speaking to your ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend. So yeah, I think my biggest piece of advice there is just delete the number. Okay, Grace McGowan says, what do you miss about college? Oh guys, everything. I was talking to someone the other day who was saying to me, she was like, I just can't wait to graduate, like, you know, my friends are annoying me constantly, there's so much drama, blah blah blah. Like I said, there's pros and cons, like pros to the real world, cons to the real world, pros to, you know, being in college and cons to being in college. There's pros and cons to literally every phase of your life, but I think the big thing that I miss most about college is being in such close proximity to my best friends, because now it's like every time that we spend time together now, me and my friends, we have to meticulously plan it out, you know, time and place and who's available. And it's like you don't just like pop over someone's house anymore. It's like a lot harder to orchestrate that. By the same token though, I really don't miss the aspect of college where I was constantly freaking out about post-grad. Like I was like constantly freaking out about what I was doing post-grad, and then, you know, when I wasn't, I would be stressed because other people were stressed about post-grad, and it was just this constant string of stress. Like, does anyone relate to that? So yeah, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'm really happy I had a chance to sit down and talk to you guys. Like, this was awesome. Check out my podcast if you're not already listening. Definitely do. I post an episode every Thursday, and it's on Apple Podcasts, it's on Spotify, the iOS app, like a bunch of apps, basically everywhere that you listen to podcasts, I'm on it. So Thick and Thin, like ampersand thin, Thick and Thin is my podcast name. And yep, that's a wrap. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys all in my next one. Bye!